Hi, I just want to talk a little bit about the definition of psychotherapy and how do we define psychotherapy. Well, the definition has a lot to do with what school of psychology are we subscribing to. My approach is psychodynamic. In this approach, we define the process of therapy as something that is happening between two people, the client and the therapist. And during this process, therapist creates an atmosphere which is very nurturing. And in this atmosphere, client is receiving some of the things that were missing from his past. We call this process corrective emotional experience, which this has a lot to do with the synergistic effects between the therapist and client that has created in the therapy room. So in another word, we come up with this idea with self-help books and other sources that they encourage the individual to read and change some behaviors or thought patterns or the way they think. Well, this might work for a lot of people, but in reality, the way that the founders of psychotherapy define this field and psychology is a process of change. And this change is the byproduct of the work of two people, as I mentioned, therapist and the client. So in another word, if we want to achieve that change, we cannot do it on our own. Especially in this approach, the psychodynamic approach, we believe in the unconscious part of each individual, which means that we are not aware of the part that needs to be changed. And it only happens through this exchange, an emotional exchange between the therapist and the client. So we come to this point that the most important factor about an effective therapy is how the client feels in the presence of the therapist. And this is very important that we call a therapeutic alliance, or the bond between the client and the therapist. Well, what I'm trying to say here is that what is the most important thing about your session is that how you feel towards your therapist and if you allow yourself to express your feelings or not. So I encourage you, when you choose a therapist, try to be yourself, try to feel comfortable and bring up all the feelings that you experience during your sessions. Anyway, I hope this was a brief introduction and hopefully something that is going to be helpful for you to have a better understanding of the process of therapy. Thank you very much for watching.